Hey folks, Frank the Pestgeek here. Well, it's been a while since I've done a lawn chair chronicle. Been a couple of months, mainly because I've been busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. And, I lost the tech, as you know, for those of you that follow me. It takes forever to refine and hire. And I was having to go out on the road for about 5-6 months since July of last year. Hired one tech, that didn't work out. I had another 2 lined up, that didn't work out. Finally, I've got one as of January 1st. I got a new technician to replace the old one. And my other tech is, busier also than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. He couldn't handle it anymore. So I had to go out, run routes. This is the reality of being a micro business owner post-COVID, where you don't have a training center, you don't have a training manager, you don't have service managers, you don't have basically a whole level of management. It's just you and 3 guys, and now it's 4 of us in the company. So, it's tough. I mean, I'm here I'm gonna smoke today for you. I really found this one. This is a neat little cigar. It's an Arturo Fuente rare pink. So I'm gonna pair it. Yes. Yes, but be back here by in an hour. 5:30? In an hour. So, pairing it with a Zacapa 23 rum, which is one of my favorite rums next to probably Dos Maderas. If you've never tried a Dos Maderas rum, it's a very not popular rum. It's not that big of a brand, but it is I'm going to cut this right around there. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, it draws great on this. I'm going to get the label off because it's kind of a small, this is, probably, if I squeeze it, I can probably get it maybe an hour out of it, 30, 40 minutes. Probably not going to be an extensively long podcast, but thought I'd give you guys an update of some real life things. So when you're a micro company like ours, where we still haven't grown to the point where we have service managers and 15 levels of management, you're still wearing a lot of hats. Right now, last year, I set some goals for myself. We met out of the 5 big goals that we had, we accomplished 3 of them, which is pretty good. I'd rather accomplish, 50% to 3/4% of big goals than to not have any big goals and stay in the same place. So what people don't do is they don't talk about their big goals. They've learned not to say anything because you got to be careful who you tell them to. And if you don't succeed and you only get 3 of them done, everybody makes you sound like you're a failure. Well, I like to ask them how many big goals did they accomplish in their year, and they had none because they're afraid to fail. So again, it all comes down to, let's take a look at this, see where this is at. Oh, great. What happened to my lighter? My lighter, something going on with it? Am I going to be able to light a cigar today? Yeah, probably going to need a new lighter soon. I got 3 of these. Why? Why are you having such an issue, dude? I'm telling you, nothing ever goes. Well, daggone it. I'm telling you, folks, nothing ever goes according to plan. Murphy rides with me. And let me see here. Yeah, it's firing. I can see the little spark. Well, daggone it. I'm going to have to get inside and get a new lighter. Hold on. I'll edit this out in a minute. Okay. I'm back. So I ended up having to get my girl's lighter. She got this cute little for herself because, she enjoys cigars with me. And she likes her own lighter. So let's see how this thing does. Oh, yeah. Let's light that bad boy up. It's a single torch cigar lighter, not big fancy, but it'll probably do the job. Long ashes to you guys for hanging out with me today. Yeah. Oh, it's a nice cigar. It's pricey, but why not? I've worked my butt off this week. I think a little indulgence and man, I remember when I started smoking cigars, I couldn't afford anything over $3, and later I moved up to a little better cigar. And I found that most cigars that I like now are somewhere within the $8 to $13 range. I still smoke some $3 to $4 cigars. I have like daily cigars that I smoke if I want one during the week. I rarely smoke cigars during the week. It's Friday night. It's our new thing now, where it used to be I would smoke out here by myself and do podcasts, and now me and her sit out here on a Friday after a long week, and we unwind for 4 or 5, 6 hours talking and chatting about what went on during the week. That's my fiance. If you haven't met Ermi, you haven't seen pictures of her. She's, plastered all over every Friday when we smoke cigars. And she happens to like cigars, and I met a woman that likes cigars. I don't know how I was going to deal with a woman that hated cigars. God loves me so much. So anyway, that's been, the last 6 months of reality. I finally got, we're going to get our termite license this year. I got that accomplished. That was on our big, hairy getting somebody to sign off for us for our training. It took me 6 months to find someone, and I know so many people. But there are those people that, will tell you, yeah, bro, I'm with you. I'll help you. Anything you need, bro, you let me know. And then you call them for something like, bro, you understand. I'm right now I can't. And, all right, bro, no worries. I'm like a mobster. I'm like Roth in The Godfather, I think, too, when they're in Cuba and Michael Corleone is sitting there, and Roth just lays it on the line for him. Look, tomorrow, if I have a briefcase here with $1 million, I know I have a partner. And if I don't, I know I don't. It's very simple. If I ask you for something and you give me excuses, I don't need to keep asking you. You either say yes or no. Let your yes be yes, your no be no. If somebody calls me, sends me a message and says, hey, man, I need help, I need counseling, I need consulting, I need this, it's either a yes or a no, I can't. It's very simple with me. Or, hey, I'll put you on my calendar for next week at 10 a.m. in the morning, and we'll have a meeting. And I have a select group of people, like a handful, literally, that I can count on one hand, that I'm going to take their call every single time, and I'm going to help them. And we've developed close relationships. But I just can't help everybody. That's the reality. I can't answer everybody's questions. I can't do everything everybody would like. So, we're doing a ton of consulting right now. I'm probably doing, maybe 2 to 3 consultations a week. We launched the Academy. I launched it with the recordings that we had. So we've got, for those of you who want a MAR protocol on how we actually deal with German roaches, we set up our German roach course for people. People ask me all the time, how do you do German roaches in an eco-friendly manner? How do you do IPM? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I got to keep answering them, and I send them to my YouTube channel, and then they have to look through 30 videos to figure out what they are. And I've got, on Pestgeek alone, we just hit our 700 video on Pestgeek alone this month. And I can't even remember now how many I have on our Nature Pest channel, which a lot of people follow us there. So I put together a really good course with a lot of bonus material of all the pitfalls and everything you're going to ever run into dealing with German roaches and doing them in an eco-friendly manner using our protocol. So what I'm doing is I'm sharing with everyone in the world that wants it our protocols to do everything. Yes, I'm charging for those, but it's reasonable. I mean, if I charge you $99 for my course and you can't turn that into $9,999 within a year, I don't know what's wrong with you. I mean, really, I give you an entire protocol on how to do everything from start to finish, where you don't even have to question it. It works because German roaches are German roaches. They haven't changed their biology. A house is a house, a kitchen is a kitchen, a bathroom is a bathroom. It doesn't change. We started out doing our SEO mastermind because I've had so many issues myself in the last 5 years hiring SEO people, try to hand it off, that I finally decided 2 years ago that we're going to just do it in-house. We're not going to hire anybody to do anything. So I hired a part-time guy at the time, Eric. For those of you that know, Eric is my producer. He does all of our social media, all of our videos, all of our sharing of those videos, all the SEO on those videos. I'm still handling on-page stuff because on-page and social media are two different animals. They're not the same discipline. So I handed off 50% of that. So my job right now in the company is really, I'm the CEO who's also the chief financial officer, because I don't have anybody doing the bookkeeping, the finances. I do all that myself. My accountant loves me. I mean, I spend maybe 30 minutes a month doing bookkeeping. Everything is automated with QuickBooks. I show up at the end of the year. Payroll takes me 10 minutes to do with Gusto. For those of you asking me, who do you use for payroll? Bro, we use Gusto. We've been using Gusto for the last 6 years. We've never had an issue with them. I had an enormous amount of issues with QuickBooks before with payroll, which cost me some garnishings and things like that where they messed it up. And I went with Gusto. I switched, never had an issue. It takes me 10 minutes to do payroll. They file everything for me. They file my quarterlies. They file my annualities. They file my W-2s. They send it to the employees. It's direct deposit. $64 a month, I think I pay for the software, plus $6 per employee. It's peanuts compared to ADP and compared to Paychecks and compared to all these people. And you don't have an issue. Super simple. They're kind of like the Apple of payroll, where they make it so simple it's stupid. QuickBooks Online, everything is automated with our accounts. All I got to do is like, yep. I know what I paid for that. I know what I paid for that. Yeah, done. At the end of the year, my Pest routes is connected to my QuickBooks, so everything gets imported, all the income, it's all in there. And 10 minutes a month, I do my QuickBooks, and I send it to my accountant once a year, and I show up with W-2s for everybody, the W-2 for the company, the payroll, and I show up with a P&L. And he's like, bro, I wish everybody was like this. I've been dealing with my same accountant for almost 20 years now. He knows my business. He knows me. He knows what I'm about. I get my consulting with him once a year, where we do tax strategy once a year, and we're done in an hour. Automate everything. I'm the chief financial officer. I know where all my money is. I know where my KPIs are. You know, I've been doing some consulting. That leads me into this, because I've been doing a lot of consulting. I've probably done in the last month, not many, probably about 6 consultations on just business and people who are struggling with their business, not understanding. And in every single case, including, this goes for marketing, this goes for SEO, this goes for sales, this goes for everything. They're tracking nothing. And I ask them, how many calls do you get from your ads? I don't know. Bottom line, I'm just giving you bottom lines. I don't know. How much any calls are you getting from your GMB? I don't know. How many forms are being filled out on your site on a monthly basis? I don't know. If you're doing ads, are they doing A/B split testing on the ads? I don't know. What do you consider a conversion, and how are you tracking your conversions? Do you have call numbers to track your conversions? I don't know. Basically, they know nothing about anything anybody's doing other than how many jobs they schedule, how much they collect, because they're usually on top of their collections, and how much money they think they're making in revenue on a monthly basis. When I ask them how much you do on a monthly basis, this month, last month, the last 90 days, I don't know. So the challenge that I see, the biggest challenge that I see for solo people who jumped off a truck, went into becoming self-employed, to be solo operators, and then they want marketing plans. They want to have a scaling operation. They want to have this. What I figure out, they have no foundation to do anything to grow. And they want to grow. They don't know anything about KPIs and what they're tracking. Why? Because tracking takes time, and they're already working 50, 60 hours a week. And they don't have the time nor the knowledge of how to track. So my biggest advice to you is you can't hire an ad agency to spend $2,000 of your money on a monthly basis, not telling you how that ad is performing, not telling you, where's the A/B split testing that was done on these ads to show which ads are better. The ads have no bite. I'm finding ads where it just shows up, hey, pest control in Miami, whatever. And that's it. There is nothing compelling about that ad to cause me to click on it and call you and buy from you, because there's no irresistible offer. The ads are showing up at the bottom of the page, where people have to scroll to the top 10 to get to you, because you have no idea. So no A/B split testing, no KPIs. They have no idea how many calls they're getting from that ad, and how many negative keywords are being targeted, who's modifying the keywords, what keywords are they targeting, and they're basically spending $1,000 a month. And I said, are you getting any return? The adage that in the advertising industry that was coined, we know that 50% of our ads are producing the result. But the problem is we don't know which 50%. There's ways to track it, folks, but you got to sit there with the end in mind. And I know that I tell this and people tell you this, but they don't tell you how. Everybody's telling you the what. Nobody's showing you the how. It is your responsibility to go and spend the time and learn the how. So when I tell you that I'm selling you a course on the how, but it's going to be a 12-week course for 12 hours, and it's going to cost you $300, you're like, oh my God, I don't have 12 hours in the next 12 weeks. I don't have $200. And then you're sitting there asking people, how do you do things? But you're not willing to spend the time or the money to learn how to do it and what your job is. Understand this, that you're the CEO of your company, but you're also wearing the hat of the chief financial officer. You're also wearing the hat of the chief marketing officer. You're also wearing the hat of the VP of sales, the general manager, the branch manager, the district manager, the service manager. You're the CSR, and you're wearing so many hats that when it comes down to, like, I've taken off so many hats. What my goal is, what hat can I take off? And sometimes I can't take the whole hat off. What I find, the second thing, the biggest danger is they don't know where their numbers are. They don't know how to track. They're not holding people responsible because they have no idea what they're supposed to be holding them responsible for. So now you hire a technician and you have no KPIs for that technician. You hire an SEO agency and you have no idea what they're supposed to be doing because they give you a vanity report that says, we did 3 blog posts and here's the title. Well, what keywords did you target? What was the purpose and the strategy of doing those blog posts? Was it to build trust and domain authority and show relevance in the market? Or is it to get calls? Is it to rank them number 1 on Google? Because you can't rank a blog number 1 on Google when you have no domain authority. And this is a third-party metric. I get it, Moz metric. But at the end of the day, it's a valid metric because the algorithms that went into that do really dictate how well you're going to rank in the market. So the fact that I can write a blog for a keyword and have it rank number 1 on Google in 90 days with doing no push, I'm doing no CTR, click-through rate manipulation, I'm doing no press releases for that blog, I'm sending no backlinks to that blog, and it will rank number 1 for the target keyword I want, which is usually a high, medium to high rankings because I have a domain authority of 23. When I analyze most sites, they're at 0 to 3, 4, 5, 6. if they're lucky. I have 1,800 referring domains, which I forget at 15,000 backlinks to my site. All organic, by the way. I earned them all. I've never paid really for a backlink. But that took 10 years for me to get there. People think they're going to get there with the BS that SEO agency are selling them, that for $600 a month, we're going to rank your site. It's going to take 10 years. Rather than saying, let me create a strategy. No, they didn't sit down with a consultant that is a real consultant, like what I'm doing with my people, my followers, my listeners, and saying, look, I will give you an hour consultation to come up with a strategy for you based on your market, based on the population, based on your competition, based on all this, and assess your risk and tell you what it's really going to take if you really want to do this before you go spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and not get any results. I would rather charge you $250, $259, $359, however long it's going to take for me to do this for you, and give you a strategy. But they don't. They rely on the salesperson that his only vested interest in that client is getting a commission. That's it. And the fact that most SEO agencies have no contracts for a reason. You can't sue them. Because they have no contract. You got nothing in writing, and they're never going to sign a contract, because I can't guarantee you as an SEO agency that I can get you ranked unless I have a bunch of things in line to manipulate a bunch of things and get you ranked. The only thing I can do as an SEO agency, I've optimized your GMB correctly. I've optimized your YouTube channel correctly. I've optimized all of your social media channels correctly. I've optimized your website correctly. How much content can you afford to put on in the marketplace is a totally different question than is it SEO'd correctly? And what I find is you have bad GMBs, bad social media branding and marketing. It's not even done right. Your YouTube channels are not SEO correctly. Websites are not designed for SEO. They're designed as information pages to drive traffic from ads and create landing pages. And the landing pages are not even there. Basically, you have a glorified catalog. So when I'm doing all of these analysis for people who are taking my course now on a weekly basis, I'm doing a live teaching where they can ask questions live. It's pre-recorded, and then it's put onto our platform for our LMS, where we're using for that you can subscribe and then watch it at your own leisure. But if you want questions answered, I'm only doing it live. Why? Because I can't take calls and questions from everybody on a weekly basis and then start answering them. I'm too busy. So what do? I accumulate all the questions. You want to email them to me, you want to message them to me, that's fine. I put them in one place, and then I answer all those questions live when I'm doing my webinar on SEO and how to do your own SEO, and at least how to know all of the key aspects of SEO, so that when you sit down with an SEO agency and you start asking those pointed questions, and you're going to get, and you back them up against the wall, now you're going to have the truth that they can't do what they say they can promise. Because now you're armed with information, but you're going to have to put in the time for at least 10 to 12 hours with me so I can show you all this. So that's number 2. They don't know where their numbers are. They don't know how to track it. I got one guy send me a report of all the keywords they rank, all the blogs, and they rank number 1, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm going, he's not ranking anywhere on the GMB, 0. He's number 20 plus on the GMB. So how can you be doing all this blogging and all this stuff that an SEO company charges you $600 and not even rank on the GMB? Why aren't you focused on a hyper-local strategy instead of targeting an entire city with 1 million people? You don't have the budget. You don't have the bandwidth. You don't have the time to track it. Why don't you do simple? Hyper-local SEO. Build your brand starting here within 5 miles. Work your way outward to the other cities so that you create at the same thing. You're creating route density You're spending less time. You can be competitive on the pricing in this area where you can outprice your competition and still be more profitable. Your ROI is going to take less time to get. And you're going to be able to manage that money a little better because it's more affordable for you than spending $600-700 a month for getting 4 blog posts written, and your web domain authority has been 0. Your amount of traffic clicks that you get is like 40 clicks a month if you're lucky. And yes, you have a bunch of impressions, and the impressions are growing, which is important metric in SEO. But I just took on it, and I'm doing a case study with one client that we're using for this class to show. And already he's getting calls. In less than a month, I've doubled and tripled his calls just in this case study, showing that he doesn't need to target everywhere. They're all around him. He's creating route density where he was traveling 30, 40 minutes to one client to charge him $159 for an initial, and then tell me that the client doesn't want to stay with them because he doesn't have contracts. And I've been talking about route density from day one. Go back 10 years, listen to my podcast. It's more important. Why do I get to do all the things I get to do with not having 5, 6, 7 technicians producing $150,000 each with all those headaches? Because my prices are high. I focus on route density. I focus on upselling. I focus on high price ticket items, customers that can afford me, and I don't have to kill myself doing all this. Now, that's not to say there's no problems. That's not to say there's not a bunch of headaches. When you own a business, there's going to be a bunch of headaches. But I'd rather have my headaches making the money I make than the headaches you have every month, not having enough money to hire. You're a slave to your route. You don't raise your prices. Everybody I've talked to has never raised. I've done, I think, 30 consultations in the last 90 days. And nobody's raised their prices. Nobody knows where their money is. Nobody knows how their route density is. They're going all over the place and going all over God's creation. They're working 50, 60 hours a week, and they pretty much have nothing to show for it other than they're no longer working for a company that treated them bad. At least that's some consolation. I just did a consultation for a guy who posted in a group that he needed a mentor. And I said, look, he just started out 6 months ago. I just did the consultation with him for an hour. In 1 hour, I gave him more strategy and more tactics than he's had being on all the groups forever. I did. And the beauty of this guy is that he started 6 months ago, and he decided to start doing residential work because he thought it would be easier and more money producing. When the fact is that he spent 14 years of his life working for a company that specialized in high-end commercial. You probably can guess who that company is. It was sold to a mega brand. It became a mega company, sold to a mega brand. I won't drop names. And he was a regional manager. He worked his way up all the way to becoming a branch manager for another company later. The guy understands management. The guy understands how to treat people. He understands how to get them to perform. He understands all this. He can sell. But here is where I nailed him to the wall on this. I said, here's the problem. How good are you? I went after this throat because he already had all that experience. I don't need to cover that. I don't need to waste time discussing that. He's having trouble, and then he hired Thumbtack, and he did LSI ads, and he did local service ads, and he's doing all of this. He's doing Angie, and all of a sudden he gets a lot of calls, and then he says it all dropped off. I get nothing. I'm paying for all this, and I'm getting nothing. I had to cancel it. Why? Because all of a sudden they'll put a lot of money into that market to boost it, to get you excited, and say, if this is the way it's going to be every day, this is wonderful. And then all of a sudden it drops. LSA ads, what I'm learning from talking to a bunch of people, is that the secret to LSA ads when they drop, especially when you don't have a big budget and you're competing with all these guys, is you drop the ads. The moment they tank, You drop the ads, cancel them for 30 days, and then reactivate them. And they boosts it again. And that's the game you have to play. But it shouldn't be like that. I know you want, in an ideal world, in a perfect circumstance, everybody's morality and everybody's integrity to be just like yours. It's never going to happen. These large companies don't do that. It doesn't really matter. You got to, I tell you, you got to work you got to learn how the game is played and then play the game. You got to learn to work the system to get the system to work for you in everything that you do. So what I said is, how good are you at prospecting? And he just looked at me and like, not good at all. Why? Because when you work for larger companies and you're a salesperson for a large company, the way it's always done is they provide leads for you. And then you got a warm lead that you go into these houses, people called wanting to know about your service. They invited you in, they're more open, and you can close 50% or more of these transactions if your pricing is within line. When you have to do cold calling, cold leads, cold marketing, most people have no idea how to prospect. So I said, why are you wasting your time with residential clients when that's not your expertise? And let me ask you a question. You work for all these large brands. What's your USP? I don't have one. I said, wait a minute. You mean you have a specialty? Because people, like, they close themselves off to their own thing. They don't get to see my job as a coach is to bring out what's already in you. I can't, as a mentor, it's looking at the big picture. As a coach is, hey, look, these are your skill sets and you need to capitalize on these skill sets. As a trainer, it's here's the step-by-step, here's the tactics. So I have to go from long-term vision and strategy as a mentor every 3 months saying, okay, have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? Okay, I would be going after that type of market now. But that's not a tactic. That's an idea of where you should be. Then as a coach is, hey, bro, I think you need to leverage this. Then as a trainer is, here's how you do it step by step. And depending on where that person, what I find is with the guy that jumps off the truck, he needs training in sales. He needs training in marketing. He needs training in business management. He doesn't even know how to read a P&L. He doesn't know anything about KPIs and SOPs. It's an enormous amount of training that has to be done with that guy who never led and managed a team, who never hired, who never managed a territory, who never was a service manager. He was a tech. And the reason he didn't do that is because he didn't see the value in doing that. I got stung by a mosquito and it's annoying me. Here I am, a pest guy, getting bitten by a mosquito. You see, and he goes and now he's self-employed and then he says, I'm an entrepreneur. You're not an entrepreneur. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a micro business owner. You realize that about 78% of small businesses in America, 78%, roughly 80%, this is where the 80-20 rule comes in, have less than 4 employees. The idea that you're going to listen to the next become business millionaire, home service millionaire, pest control millionaire, only 6% of small businesses in America ever make it to $1 million. 94% are under $1 million, with the great majority being under 500,000. Why? Because they're technicians turned self-employed, and you went from being self-employed, really you went to being unemployed and then having to go out and interview every day for a job. The thing is, you need 500 bosses to make it. People don't look at this. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying that the amount of training that has to be done and the amount of hand-holding that has to be done to train people is longer, and it requires a lot more money and investment on their part, which they don't have anyway. This is why you can't get a coach, why you can't get a mentor, why you can't get training, because you need to spend the time and the money learning those things, and you don't see the value of those things. You're saying that's corporate nonsense, corporate BS. And then after a year of being in business, working 60 hours a week to only produce $150,000 and take home less than $50,000 a year, they get it. It isn't until they hit the wall that they get it. So I took half of my marketing hat off and gave it to Eric. I don't have a technician hat. Right now, I'm going in the field 1 day a week. Only. I book all my clients 1 day a week. Like I got to go do a big pitch to a city that called me. That's my job. I'm right now, my biggest hat is sales and marketing. Why? Because I really don't have to do a whole lot of management with my people. Because of the way I train and the way I hire, which people might not agree with me, I don't care because I know it works. I know it's worked for me. My goal is, how do I grow now and grow more and keep growing? So once we add termite, that will probably add about $150,000 a year in revenue, where I don't have to hire another technician for a while, or I might have to hire another technician, take off my lead technician, because I really want my lead technician to get up. Because I'm pushing him because he's hungry, because he loves to learn, because he loves to take on challenges, because he likes to do the new thing. He's like me when I was younger. He just doesn't have all the skill sets that I have. So he's like my protege. He works 40 hours a week and brings home over $50,000 in Miami. Unheard of for a lot of people. He has no complaints. Everybody loves him. I don't have to worry about this guy. My new guy, hungry, older. He's actually a year older than me. Just got here from Cuba not too long ago, but he was here before. He understands. How do you do it with people that don't know English? It's very easy. I translate everything for them. I teach them everything. I teach him how to do everything. And I don't need him to learn. How is he going to read the labels? Very easily. I translate those labels. I tell him, you don't do this, you don't do that. Here's the PPE. Here's what you have to do on this label. And he does it. And if you think you can't be done, everybody in Miami is doing it. I got guys who open up their truck and the only thing that's back there is a bottle of bifin. And they got three trucks on the road with nothing more than a power sprayer, a B&G, and a bottle of bifin. Everybody gets bifin. It doesn't matter what the hell the problem is. You get bifin. I mean, this is Miami. This is the way it is in big cities, in big giant cities. I talk on a monthly basis to at least somebody in a major market. And all the calls I get, turns out, here's the funny part about this one. I'm tracking all my calls. What market are you in? They're in a large metro market. And the problem is they can't compete in those markets. That's the reason they're calling me. The reason their SEO for $600 a month, some of them are paying $2,000 a month, isn't working, is because you're in a large metro market like Dallas, like New York, like the Miami Metro, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach market. You think you're going to be competitive. And this is why I'm pushing everybody to a hyper-local strategy. I'm actually going to write up a course, because what I find is the pain points. What I find is, what is everybody fighting with? And what are the common denominators I keep having in every consultation I'm doing? And it's that you're usually in major markets and you need a hyper-local strategy. You need a hyper-local marketing strategy. You don't need this elaborate bunch of crap that everybody's telling you. Yes, when you deal with, when these guys are giving advice, remember that they may have 10 technicians. And the way they run their company with 10 technicians is totally different than what you can do when you're hiring your first one. My audience is primarily independent solo operators who have 2 to 3 people, or the technician that's in a truck looking to jump ship, or the technician that nobody's training. That's who my audience is. Now, When am I talking to people that take a bunch of these courses? Yeah, Frank, it's wonderful, all the stuff they're telling me. It's kind of like if I do a pest control conference for homeowners and I talk to them like I talk to the industry, bro, he sure knows a lot about bugs. Too bad I don't understand anything he's saying. I get criticized for my videos. Roaches don't have poop. I understand, but I'm talking to a homeowner. I'm not talking to the industry. When I do a Pestgeek Podcast video, it's different than when I do one for a homeowner. I have to speak their language. When I'm doing keyword research, I'm doing keyword research on their language. I don't care if the keyword doesn't make sense to you because it's grammatically incorrect. I am Mr. Grammatically Incorrect. I'm Mr. Inappropriate. So I'm doing these consultations. I just did an audit research, and the guy sends me, like I said, all these bunch of keywords. Now I got to sit with him. The problem is he wants to talk more about what he's doing than listen to me about what I'm going to tell him. So when I charge you $159 an hour, I'm no longer giving my time to you. If you don't listen to me, that's on you, bro. Not skin out my back. Because if I can compete in the 6th largest market in the country, it varies with Miami. And I said, I can show you what I do here in Miami. It's going to take me 3 to 4x more than what you have to do in your market. If I can pull everything I've been able to pull off in Miami, everybody said it can't be done. My market is a test. My company is a guinea pig. My company is a laboratory. My company everything I do is to prove people wrong, because if I can do it here, I can duplicate it anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world, pretty much. That's always been my strategy. Because at the end of the day, I'm a trainer, I'm a teacher, I'm learning to coach, and now I'm learning to mentor people.